I don't know what you think. I can't actually watch that video, to tell you the truth, but I've seen many like it, and frankly, it's horrific. I don't upset myself for the rest of the day, so I can't actually look at that. There is another site which called the abrahamicfaith.com, which has a whole lot of them as well. We must thank YouTube for trying to make the West available, aware of what is going on. And to me, what religion is this that does this? Not only it's doing it all the time. And it's in the Quran. It says, convert the infidel or the unbeliever. If you can't, cut his head off. And that's just an instruction. The Bible, by comparison, says, love thy neighbor. And love your enemy 7 times 7. In other words, don't hurt them. If they disagree with you, just walk out, shake the dust off and walk away. You see, we believe that the judgment is left to Yahweh, or what you would call the God of the Bible. And that's what I believe, and I've seen it happen many times. But this nightmare that we see continually and the press is not reporting on, and we've got a few soldiers who rough a few men up to try and get some answers. Meanwhile, they're chopping people's heads off and murdering people in great volumes. And I want to read a letter that a woman, well, I'll send it today actually, and this is about the 8th of November, and I want to read it to you. It was written by a New Brunswick woman, and this is what she says, and I think it's an excellent letter. And there's somebody writes here about this woman. This one packs a firm punch. She should be Prime Minister. And as I say, she's a housewife, and she wrote to a local newspaper, but it just shows you how strong it is. It's come right across the world, and I've sent it to my friends, and it says, this is what she said: are we fighting a war on terror, or aren't we? Was it, or was it not, started by Islamic people who brought to our shores on the September 11th, 2001, and have continually threatened to do so since? Now, I just want to enlarge on what she said there, because prior to 2011, the Americans had been attacked on the coal incident, in the barracks in Lebanon, and half a dozen other places. I think I counted 10 incidents before 2001. And quite frankly, I was wondering whether the Americans were going to do anything at all under Clinton. When he got Bush in, he said, fine, we can't allow this to happen any longer. And then he got into action. And we got into Iraq and Afghanistan. And people seem to think, oh, well, that's terrible because this happens and that happens. You must remember that Saddam Hussein had killed millions of people in any event. And if we've killed some, we've killed probably a lot less. I couldn't care all the embellishment that they're talking about. We haven't gone in to kill people purposely. We try to make sure our bombs fell on the right places, and we try to do all these things. But Saddam Hussein killed them on purpose. Now, we have tortured a few. Yes, we have. But we've got to get answers. And let's carry on with what she says. Were people from all the world not brutally murdered that day in downtown Manhattan, across the Potomac, from the capital of the USA, and in a field in Pennsylvania? And I might also in London. What about Spain? And what about Bali? And what about India? That this vicious religion has brought down on our heads. Did nearly 3,000 women die and children die a horrible burning or crushing death? And there's some committed suicide because they jumped out of the windows. It was horrific. Or didn't they? That's what she says. Or didn't they? And I'm supposed to care that a few Taliban are claiming to be tortured by a justice system of the nation they came from and are fighting against in a brutal insurgency. I'll start caring when Osama bin Laden turned himself in and repents for incinerating all those innocent people on 9/11. I'll care about the Quran when the fanatics in the Middle East start caring about the Holy Bible, the mere belief of which is a crime punishable by beheading in Afghanistan. And I might add, the whole portion of the Quran is literally a copy of the Holy Bible, because the Bible was written thousands of years before, and the Quran wasn't. It was written about 1200 or 1300, somewhere around there in any event. I'll care when these thugs tell the world they are sorry for hacking off Nick Berg's head while Berg screamed through his gurgling slashed throat. And what about all the rest they've done? And you can see hundreds of them if you go onto various websites. I don't want to see them, but if you disbelieve it, go and have a look. I'll care when the cowardly so-called insurgents in Afghanistan, and I might add in other countries as well, come out and fight like men instead of disrespecting their own manhood, religion, by hiding in mosques and behind women and children. I'll care when the mindless zealots who blow themselves up in search of nirvana care about the innocent children within range of their suicide bombs. I'll care when Canadian, British, American, Australian media stops pretending that their freedom of speech on stories is more important than the lives of the soldiers on the ground or their families waiting at home to hear about them when something happens. Remember, they're on the wall. They're fighting for us. In the meantime, when I hear a story about a Canadian soldier roughing up an insurgent terrorist to obtain information, know this: I don't care. When I see a wounded terrorist get shot in the head when he is not told not to move because he might be booby-trapped, you can take it to the bank. I don't care. I don't know who these people who are caring about that, but I really don't have a feeling. And I think a whole lot of people feel exactly the same way. Not just 10% of the population. I'm talking about 70, 80% of the population. So who are these people who care about this? When I hear that a prisoner who was issued a Quran and a prayer mat and fed special food that is paid for by my tax dollars is complaining that his holy book is being mishandled, you can absolutely believe in your heart of hearts, I don't care. And few other people do as well. And oh, by the way, I've noticed that sometimes it's spelled Koran, K-O-R-A-N, and other times Quran, Q-U-R-A-N. Well, Jimmy cracked corn, you guessed it. I don't care. If you agree with this viewpoint, post it on your email, friends. Sooner or later, I'll get to the people responsible for this ridiculous Western behavior, which is so liberal that it's too heavenly minded to be any good. And I put that in. If you don't agree, then by all means, hit the delete button. Should you choose the latter, then please don't complain when more atrocities committed by radical Muslims happen here in our own great country. And I may add, some people spend an entire lifetime wondering if they made a difference in the world. But the soldiers don't have that problem. They face it every day. I have another quote that I would like to add, and I hope you forward this. One last thought for the day. Only 5 defining forces have ever offered to die for you. Yahshua, who is Jesus Christ, the British soldier, the Canadian soldier, the US soldier, the Australian soldier. One died for your soul and the other 4 for your freedom. You might want to pass this on to the many who forget all of them. Amen. I thought that was an excellent piece of letter that really strikes a chord to people of the Anglo-Saxon race who are being so undermined by their own governments. And Britain has suffered terribly recently with this government, and actually going back to Heath, where this country has been sold down the line after a flawed referendum, and now of course they refuse to give us another one because they know that 80% of the people are against it. Yes, 80%. Poll after poll shows between 75 and 80% of people are against us joining Europe. And of course the corruption in Europe, where 95% of the budget, according to the auditors, is unaccounted for. And of course they passed 200,000 laws unrepresentative. Isn't this what caused the American Revolution of George III? We must all really look at these governments and vote for anybody else other than the lib-lab con. But this situation, support your soldiers, support your army, and support yourself. Believe in yourselves. And also believe in your God. Yahweh has helped us on many occasions. Thank you very much.